Hello YouTube, and welcome to our latest war recap video where we're up against Shahriyar King, and pretty dominant effort on our part. Not our highest score, but some still good attacks, and I think the Kings let go of the idea of winning the war fairly early on in the war and didn't complete many of their attacks. Let's check out what they did. They had a few misses on our bases, but some 2 stars on our town hall 10s, and left, there's bases they didn't even bother attacking, so they were kind of a bit disappointing from that side. We thought we were in for a good war, nice tight war. Turns out they didn't really show up, but you get that sometimes. We had a late attack right in the very last second of the war on their number 1, but other than that, got 2 stars on most of their town hall 10s. We've got a triple on their 4, and most of their 9s cleaned up. We kind of took our foot off the pedal ourselves after we realised it wasn't really going to be a competitive war, and had a few practice attacks and things like that. So let's check out the action, and we'll kick things off with Uncle on number 5, and it's another ring style base, and it's pretty tried and tested how you treat ring style bases. So he brings in the Archer Queen there. Just a funnel on the left hand side of the base, a couple of wall breakers just to open up that side of the base so she can walk through the upper segment of the base. While that's all happening, there's a golem and a giant dropping down with a couple of wall breakers on the right side of the base, a few wizards in behind just to form the other half of the funnel, and you can see already these giant there just to tank while his last couple of wall breakers open up this next compartment, and that's a nice little strategy to stop the local defenses taking out your wall breakers. The Valks get momentarily distracted by the king. The enemy king doesn't take them long to get back on track. Take it straight into the jump spell, straight into the core, straight onto a raid spell, and that's goodbye core from there. So we've got the Arch Queen still working her way up through one side of the base. There's the king with a couple of Valkyries on the other side of the base, and 1 or 2 Valks that are still left over from the center. A couple of backhand hogs there, just taking out that outside defense, and gets a bonus cannon. Does run into a giant bomb and loses the rest of the hogs, but at this stage there's not much left. The Arch Queen gets stuck on Lava Hound. We might just speed this up a little bit because it does take a little while for the Arch Queen to take out a max, and then particularly with the new max Lava Hound that has even more health and drops even more pups, but he's got a couple of poisons that he's carefully kept up his sleeve. They help take care of all the pups, and the Arch Queen still has all of her healers. There's no chance of the remaining defenses causing it any trouble at all. The Barbarian King is running around the other side of the base, and before you know it, it's game over for this particular base. Not bad. Okay, coming up next we've got Jason coming in on their number 7, which is kind of a squarish layout, and Jason just goes, that's cool, we'll come in with a few earthquakes and open the base up nicely. So it's got a few golems coming in here, fairly widespread on the golems, centered around where the earthquake was. A couple of wizards and wall breakers opening things up. He's got nice use of one of his P.E.K.K.A.s there just to help with the funnel forming, because those storages have quite a lot of hit points. He's got some Valkyries coming in as well, just to help with the general mayhem in the core. He's got a raid spell and a heal spell ready for the core, just to keep his P.E.K.K.A.s up whilst they're dealing with all those Teslas that can be quite do quite a bit of damage to his P.E.K.K.A. He's got his Arch Queen is moseying along at the back, which is kind of where you want her really. She's best placed sniping defenses from afar, whilst your frontline troops are soaking up all the damage. But you can already see there's pretty much not much left of the base, just completely crushed it, and still has still has 2 golems and both of his P.E.K.K.A.s, so he's got loads of troops left over. His queen's in good shape. He's just popped his king's ability. He hasn't used his queen's ability yet. But those Pekka are going to have no trouble at all with the remaining defences, and we'll just fast forward while the cleanup happens, because that's all that there is left to do. Absolute ton of troops left over. And just a few more buildings left to go, and then it's on for the 3. Lovely attack, Jace. Really nice. Okay, moving right along. Up next we have Plan Jenny coming in on their number 8 with a couple of golems, some wizards forming the funnel, and kind of very low level walls on some of these bases, and low level heroes as well. This is 10-10 heroes on I think this was their second highest Town Hall 9 base, so kind of a bit low level really, but Valks just tearing their way through the base. The fact the Queen is on the inside is only helping them get into the base, because they want to tear through the wall to get her. They end up in the core after dealing with the Queen. There's where the golem is. There's a rage spell there just to push them straight through that core. One of the nice things about rage spells with Valkyries is that quite often it can mean that they'll run over a giant bomb, trigger it, but then run so far away that they don't actually suffer any real damage from it, so that can be quite nice. There's a haste spell there just to speed a couple of the troops along through that section. The Queen's got stuck on Lava Hound there. There's Hogs coming in, taking out the last couple of defences. They're not being shot by anything because the defences are too busy shooting at the Valkyries. There's just a Wizard Tower left, and that just falls over, and the next thing you know, the Lava Hound pops just as the base gets trashed. So not particularly effective as defensive CC troops these days, I don't think, particularly with the prevalence of ground-based Valk attacks where there aren't many air shooting troops. Alrighty, lovely attack by Jenny. Coming up next, we've got Jason again, 6-star war from Jace. And looks like a very similar base layout, but it approaches this one from a different angle, just for a bit of variety. There's no point in attacking base from the same angle if you want to keep things fresh. So he comes in here with, again, the three golems. Nice spread, and I like the way that he hasn't put his wizards in at the top there, because there isn't really any need. The wizards are much better placed on the sides to funnel the side buildings, because your main attack force is going to take out those 1 or 2 buildings in the centre on their way into the base anyway, so you don't really need your wizards to do that. He's got a bunch of 4 Valkyries in the CC. He's got a King and Queen coming in nicely shielded by all those golems. He has got a free spell, which may seem like a strange choice for a Town Hall 9 attack, but I think that's because he was initially prepped for a Town Hall 10 and there was a last minute change of strat, so you kind of run with what you've got. Gets an early pop on the Lava Hound this time, but again doesn't have any trouble taking out all those pups, whilst the rest of his forces are working their way through the base. Those Max Pekka do a fabulous job of tearing through walls, and when they're under heal, those Teslas don't really pose any threat anyway, so just crushing the base, just methodically walking from pretty much just a walk from one side of it to the other, taking out everything en route as you come across it. So we'll fast forward a little bit here towards the end, as there's Hogs, there's Golems, there's Wizards, there's Pekka, there's his Archqueen does eventually fall, but look at how many Wizards he's got floating around. He's got his Barbarian King up, just not going to take very much, and boom, lovely attack. And a 6-star war. Coming up next, we've got Prodigy. Again, this is another Town Hall 9 dip, so Town Hall 10 dipping onto a Town Hall 9, so we'll have a look through. Drops Hog, gets the CC lure, pulls the CC over to the corner. We'll fast forward through this because we've all seen CC's troops being dealt with. Just a few barbs to help keep the dragon in the poison. Decides he's had enough of the lure and just proceeds to drop his golems to distract the dragon while his wizards take it out. Most of his Valks go into the core there, a couple on the outside, but that's no bad thing because they'll tank for those wizards while they take out the edge defences. Meanwhile, his main Valk force has already completely trashed the building, trashed the base, and there's absolutely no defences left. So this is the thing. As we're watching these attacks, look at how much time is left on the attack when the Valkyries are initially deployed on some of these attacks. I know recently, a lovely attack, Ian, by the way. I know recently the timer available for attacks, up next we've got minor, was reduced to 3 minutes, but look at this, 2 minutes 17, and some of that time will be spent on, sometimes it's CC lures, sometimes it's Archer Queen walks, but the key thing here is there's no need to hurry forming your funnel, and if you're doing an Archer Queen walk or Super Queen at the start, you've got time. You can easily let your Queen just run for a minute on the base on her own before you drop any other troops, because these attacks, here Major's using golems, but he hasn't, there's a minute 40 left on the clock and he hasn't dropped his Valks yet. So once the thing with Valk attacks is it's a minute 37. So if you'd done an Archer Queen walk for a minute, this attack would have been over in 2 minutes 30. So there's plenty of time to be doing other things with the speed that Valks go through. So he's got healed, rages, tearing through the base, second heal to keep the Valks up and running, and that's exactly what they do as they rip their way through this base. So yeah, just don't be frightened to let other parts of your raid develop. And one thing that can suck a little bit of time is dealing with the CC troops if you're going to lure them over to a corner. But again, with Valks, you've probably got time to do that, and pretty much there's very little left on the base to have to worry about. We'll fast forward a little bit here as the attack does slow just slightly as the Queen gets distracted and runs over to a corner, but pretty soon there's not much left. The Queen's taken out one of the defences. She does the smart thing here, runs around the corner and shoots at the Archer Tower rather than the gold storage, which is what she normally does for me, but Miner's got the Archer Queen with the PhD and gets him the 3-star. Very nice attack. Alrighty, up next we've got Geek coming in on number 15 in a base that is ideally suited for Pentalaloon because very low level air defences and both expos are set to ground. There is a dragon in the CC, so he's prepared for that, and he's dropped a poison down early. Got a couple of lavas on a second air defence, and that's generally the preferred way of doing Pentalaloon, is to split onto 2 different air defences. He drops his rage early on the top just to help the balloons get into that first defence against the air sweeper. Got loads of hounds running across. They are going to run into the Archer Queen, but the plan for that is as the Archer Queen pops the lava hounds, which is actually what he wants. The pups from the lava hound will take out the Queen because they're under rage. That's what they do. That's part of the reason why you drop your rage spells centered on air defenses in this attack, is because what you actually want to rage up are 2 things. One is the balloons heading into the air defense, take them down, and secondly you want to rage up the pups from the lava hounds when they pop, because raged up pups do tons of damage, and that's one of the tricks to taking down the enemy Archer Queen. Alrighty, so this break is pretty much the base has been cored, and we've just got loons running around the outside with a few pups. We'll fast forward through this bit because this is just balloons and things running around. Plenty of troops left in the bag, and gets the 3. Okay, and now we've got Jib coming in on their number 16 with kind of a fairly spread out base and quite a wide central moat that runs around the town hall there, so any troops in there are going to be able to get access to lots of different things. He does get the CC lure and drags up the dragon and bits up the top. Well, whilst that's happening, he's dropped his earthquakes down. We'll fast forward through the CC kill because we've all seen that happen. Of course, no poison spell because he used earthquake, so he does go through a few of his wizards doing that, but he's now got the golem down. It may have been a better choice to have dropped the golem and then drop 4 or 5 wizards behind the golem to take out the dragon, and you've held on to a few more of the wizards, but it doesn't really matter in this attack. He's got an absolute ton of Valkyries, which he's just dropped into the base. They're just going to do what Valkyries do best, that we've seen in quite a few attacks, and the next thing you know, there's no king and no queen on the defensive side left, and he does get a nice split on his Valks here. There's a few going around the outside and a few going through the core, and that's working out quite nicely. A heal spell there just to keep them all up whilst they come along and take out those Teslas in the middle. Running another heal spell just to keep them up through that last little section there, but he's got his queen on full health. He hasn't had to use her ability. His king's still up. He's got Valkyries running through all the remaining compartments. I'm pretty sure that's the last remaining defense has just gone down right there, so we'll fast forward through this last little bit. There are builders' huts in the corner, as people seem to still want to do, but that's not going to help. Lovely attack by Jib, and completely trashed it. Very, very nice indeed. Alright, and then we've got Geek coming in again. This is a Town Hall 8 dip, so we'll speed this bad boy up a little bit. The usual double Zapquake on these, followed by a bunch of dragons and balloons. I think Geek used to use a Lava Hound, but these days is gone a bit more mellow and tends to go with the max drag in the CC. So it comes with some nice back-end loons this time, which is just helps keeps his dragons alive that little bit longer, because it takes out some of the archer towers on the far side of the base. Plenty of dragons left over and 1 Tesla left, and job done. Okay, coming up next we've got Jack, the Jackinator, coming in with his Go-Var-Ho special. So he brings a couple of golems, gets earthquakes to open the base up, and that's just giving him access to pretty much the entire base. Gets the wizards down. He's got a heal spell to help keep his golems up. A few wall breakers, and one of his Valks has peeled off to help take out the enemy king. That doesn't hurt, I don't think. A couple of his Valks have gone around the outside, but no matter, he's got hogs. His wizards are going to pick up and take care of the dragon, which is a good thing, because that's one thing that can hurt your hogs quite badly. But he's got plenty of hogs running through the base, and got Valkyries running around the outside. So this base is just going to all collapse all at the same time. There's not going to be any cleanup needed, really. He hasn't got any more heal spells, and he is slowly running out of hogs here, but they are going to get enough of the base down, combined with these 2 wizards, for to get the job done. He's got his king's ability. We'll just fast forward a little bit. There's 2 wizards are going to do nice work against the town hall. The thing about max Valks that he's brought in his CC is they have so many hit points at this level compared to the defenses that are available. Those wizards are just in the right place to help take out the last couple of defenses, and the next thing you know, the base has been completely cored and there's nothing left. So he's got his outside troops just doing a little bit of exercise, taking care of the builder's hut, whilst his wizards play around on the inside of the base, beating up on some walls. Because Jack's Town Hall 8, he doesn't have an Arch Queen to beat on walls, so his wizards do that job for him. Lovely attack, Jack, really nice. Okay, Zimmer Killer coming in against, we haven't seen one of these bases for a while, this kind of spread out multi-box base. Drops a hog, gets a CC lure, because you can't just drop the poison on the CC anymore. He drags it over to the corner and then drops the poison. That's a big change from how it used to be, but still the same effect. So at this point I'd be tempted to drop a wizard or 2 and then have the barbs running in behind, but no matter, it gets enough damage done on the dragon here that the wizards are easily able to clean up what's left. Bunch of Valkyries straight in, and under a heal spell they're just going to run straight through the core, and the next thing you know, boom, the base is done. Some people take a smaller number of Valkyries and a few balloons at that point, because once all the air defense in the core are taken out, you just can't stop balloons. But Zimmer opts to go with all Valks, and why wouldn't you? Because they're just fun and fast. So as we see, just running through, it's got a few wizards. Wizards always pair up very nicely with Valks, because the Valks tend to run up ahead because they're faster, so they get targeted by defenses and tank all the damage from the defense, while the wizards run along behind and just snipe all the defenses over the walls. It's just a great little combo on the outside of a base, and Zimmer just gets a nice cleanup. Didn't even bother with his king's ability. Nice attack. Okay, coming up next, where are we? We're on to number 20. Zimmer again, back-to-back attacks in war, both 3 stars, and very similar base layouts, very similar army comps, and very similar results. So comes in with a giant this time, because they're nice and easy lure. Drags over to the corner, a couple of barbs, heal spell. We've all seen this. We'll just fast forward a little bit because we've all seen what that looks like. And then coming in, we've got Golem, some max Valks in the CC, a bunch of Valks from his own. They do run outside, a few of them do, but he gets enough into the core, along with his king, to get the job done. In fact, most of his Valks have run outside, but I don't think it matters. There aren't that many defenses on the inside of the core of this particular base, and his king and a few wizards more than enough firepower, whilst his Valks do marvellous work running on the outside of the base, cleaning up all of the point defense. Yeah, I mean, he's still got his golem up. His king's on just about full health. He hasn't used his king's ability. He does use it now, just so that his king can come along and smash that one remaining builder's hut and get the 3-star for the team. Very nice attack. Okay, and we've got the Jackinator coming in again, and we all know how Jack rolls when he's attacking bases. So we've got Earthquake spell. Maybe you suggest try dropping the level 3 Earthquake first, because it does a little bit more damage to the defenses than your level 1s do. That's just how Earthquakes work. The first one you drop does the most damage, and the rest do successively less. It's always best to drop your highest level Earthquake spell first, but it's a minor point. He's got a lovely funnel for his troops here. He's got wizards, the golems distracting the dragon. He hasn't got too much to worry about there, because he's got so many wizards running in behind, and they're all safe because the dragon's tanking all the defenses for him. He's got his Valkyries there running through. They're taking care of the defenses. He's got hogs with a lovely heal spell. One of his golems is actually going to catch some benefit from the heal, but all catches a spring trap there. Loses a few hoggies, but not too big a deal. He's got both of his Valkyries, both of his golems are still up and running. He's got a bunch of wizards, and they're just going to muscle their way through this base and take out the few remaining defenses without too much trouble at all. Or a double giant bomb, which his king kindly trips so that his Valkyries don't run through it. It does. Just love watching Valkyries demolish multiple buildings at the same time. It's just great fun. He does have, he's kind of running a little bit low on troops here, but he's got his king and his king's ability. He's got one Valk that just went down, but the key thing here is that he has is those wizards, their ability to shoot over walls, and his king just gets the job done very, very nicely indeed. Nice attack, Jack, and a 6-star war, one of several. And up next we've got Ads, who's coming in with a very interesting attack. So we've got Peckers, Valkyries, Wizards, and I'm not quite sure what's in the CC, but he gets a CC lure, and that happens to be a dragon, which is probably bad news for his king. And he's using his king as bait for the dragon, and the dragon's taking the bait, and his king's dead. But no matter, he drops his Max Pecker in the CC. He's got a bunch of wizards. It'd be a good time to drop his own wizards. maybe would have dropped those quite a bit sooner, and you'd have had a lot more health on your Pekka, and maybe even have had your king still up. But no matter, he's got a couple of rage spells on the outside of the base, which power his Valkyries and Giants straight into the core. He's got a third rage, and the next thing you know, the base is completely cored. There's only a few point defenses on the outside, but he's got wizards in the core shooting some of those. He's still got Valkyries, he's got Giants, his own Pekka are running around the outside. He's got just one Valkyrie with a sliver of life left, but what do you know, there are no defenses left in the base, so by the time his troops start running low on health, he's still got two Valkyries in the core of the base, so they run out and join the party now as well. He's still got his max Pekka, that will be on plenty health because they've got an absolute ton of health. Max Pekka is a good choice for the CC at Town Hall 8, depending upon what attack style. 3 max Valks are effective as well, but a max Pekka has as much health as a level 1 Golem. So just to give you a sense of how strong they are at Town Hall 8, and they do a ton of damage as well. Up next we've got Raj coming in on this Town Hall 7 that doesn't know what's about to hit it. But we do. It's a bunch of dragons, and there is a Zap Quake on one of the air defense, and that's enough to make it go pop. And these baby air defenses are not going to be enough to cope with what he's got left. He does lure the dragon here, which is quite interesting. Most dragon attackers don't bother with that. They just come in and deal with the dragon en route, but there's no harm in taking the CC dragon out. Which is exactly what Raj does here. He drops a few archers down in a poison, and the next thing you know, pop, the dragon's gone, and he notice the nice semicircular deployment of his archers there that just stops the CC dragon from vaping all of his archers in one go. He's got max loons in the CC, rage spell there. Look at lovely placement on the rage spell, and gets a nice split on his balloons too, and the next thing you know, the 2 remaining air defenses are not on the base anymore. They've been taken out, and his troops are just powering their way through this base. Very, very nicely done indeed, and there's pretty much nothing left that's going to stop this attack being anything other than what we all know it's going to be, and that is the 3-star. Very nicely done indeed, Raj, and doesn't even drop all of his dragons, kept one up his sleeve. How's that? And up next we've got Danger Mouse. Back-to-back appearances for Danger Mouse. Drops a minion to get the CC lure. And we'll fast forward while he deals with the CC. There's a bunch of wizards, and there's way too many wizards for that dragon. That dragon just gets absolutely trashed. There are a bunch of giants. He's coming in with some max wizzies in the CC. And a few more giants. I really, really like the patience with which Danger Mouse deploys his giants. They're not just spammed all in one big group. It's drop a few, drop a few, drop a few. It works really well. He's coming in with hogs, level 1 hogs, which is always a brave choice. But he's got so many giants, and they're spread so far around the base that these hogs are, for the most part, when they were first dropped, they weren't getting shot by anything. The giants do tend to run away here, and the hogs do end up going down. But by that stage, there's not much left of the base, and he's got tons and tons of wizards left. Drops a heal spell to keep his giants up and going, and catches a few of his wizards in the heal spell as well. So that's quite nice. So multiple use from the heal spell. He's going to catch a double giant bomb with quite a few of his wizards and a couple of his max wizards. That's a little bit unlucky, but I don't think it's going to have much of an impact on the outcome of the raid, because he's got his king that's going to tank as if he's a giant anyway, and he's got plenty of wizzies left over. And there's a bit of a race down to the bottom here for the last remaining building. A very nice attack indeed, Danger Mouse. Okay, and coming up next we've got Rum Punch coming in just with a bunch of dragons and 2 heal spells. So just lined all of his dragons up. Just a wall of dragons. Is that what the collective noun for dragons is? Is it a wall of dragons when you've got lots of dragons? Could be. Seems to be what Rum Punch is thinking, because he has come in a nice use of his heal spell to keep his hogs alive there. So as his dragons work their way through one side of the base. He's got heals, which he's focusing on his hogs, but I think a couple of his dragons are also going to get the benefit of, and those hogs have come in and done work. They've taken out 2 of the air defenses. That's absolutely great value for those hogs, and now they're just continuing to give him value because they've also taken out 1 of the archer towers. So that was a great choice and lovely deployment choice as well. Nice place to drop them down. As a result, there's one wizard tower that can actually do any damage to his remaining dragons, and it's not going to do that much damage to that many dragons. So at this point, it's pretty much game over, and that's exactly what happened for the rest of this base. Oh, and there's why do people still do this? It just makes these videos just that little bit longer, and means his dragons get a little bit more exercise as they do their little Benny Hill run from one side to the other. We all know what's going to happen here. Boom, lovely attack run, great attack, great war, everybody, and lots of good attacks. Despite the fact that our opponent was a bit of a no-show. So we've got 6-star war from Jason. I think that's 2 in a row. Congrats. And Prodigy and PJ coming close. Still DS and how heartbreaking. 94 and 98. Oh, unlucky man. Unlucky. Minor only just missing out as well with 85 and 100. Jib 199. Oh, gutted. Congrats to Power by Geek, Jackinator and Zimmer, all with 6-star wars. Good to see. Raj coming in close with 91 and 100, and Hunket with 91 and 93.